regular season started just after Labor Day, and in Pittsburgh tonight it ends with a battle for the AFC North as the Bengals meet the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Degrees and dry, Heinz Field, Pittsburgh. The terrible towels twirling, and this crowd is ready to rock and roll as Andy Dalton leads the Cincinnati Bengals into Pittsburgh to take on Ben Roethlisberger, who for the last couple of hours has been fighting a minor stomach virus, but he's out warming up and ready to go. And we're ready to go on Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, the show before you. Welcome to Pittsburgh. Very simple in terms of the playoffs. Each team already in. The winner of this game stays home and meets the Baltimore Ravens next week. The loser has to go to Indianapolis to face the Colts. Now, the Bengals come in hot. They've won 7 of their last 9. They go into the playoffs for a 4th consecutive season, and next week will try to win a playoff game for the first time in 24 years. It's a running team right now, thanks mainly to Jeremy Hill, the great-looking rookie from LSU, who figures to be a major factor tonight. The Pittsburgh Steelers, like Cincinnati, they have won 7 of 9. Thanks mainly to the offense, ranked number 2 in the league, Ben Roethlisberger, in his 11th season, and he might be having his best year, and that's really saying something. And 3 weeks ago, he led them into Cincinnati. They scored 25 unanswered points in the 4th quarter, won the game 42-21. Chris, as you well know, living in Cincinnati, the former Bengal, the Bengals have not been ready for prime time in the past few years, but they were able to light it up last Monday night against Denver. What do you see in the glare in Pittsburgh tonight?
I have no idea. This team has been so unpredictable all season long, but I do know with Jeremy Hill, they are a legitimate playoff threat now. The Bengals have rushed for over 200 yards in each of the last 2 games. They've won 4 straight on the road. They're ready to go tonight in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh for years, going back to the 70s, the chant defense, defense. Now it might as well be offense, offense. What do you make of this team?
Well, they're the triplets now, right? I mean, this is some offense they've got going. Ben Roethlisberger not feeling well tonight, but this has clearly been the best season of his career. Le'Veon Bell has been so good. He destroyed the Bengals when they played in Cincinnati. And Antonio Brown, 122 catches on the season. A lot of firepower for these Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's the 256th and final game of the regular season, and it's a beauty. It's the Bengals and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
Follow your favorite teams all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Sunday Night Football is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By the all-new Kia Sedona. And by Game of War. Play free now. NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 49, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
And here's what we need to know. The Baltimore Ravens will come here next weekend, or to Cincinnati, depending on who wins this game. The loser off to Indianapolis to meet the Colts next weekend. It's as simple as that. 3 teams from the AFC North going to the playoffs. Now, moments ago, Michelle Tafoya down on the field with Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin.
Well, Coach, Ben Roethlisberger did not do his pregame warm-ups. He told me he had an upset stomach. What are you expecting from him tonight?
I expect him to be Ben. You know, we all got to go to work from time to time in less than ideal circumstances. My mom worked at the shipyard. She didn't have days off. So he's going to do the job for us tonight.
A.J. Green did the job for the Bengals the last time you met up, and that was when you had both Ike Taylor and Troy Polamalu. Those guys are down tonight. How do you limit Green?
You know, we're not going to make any excuses. We believe in the guys that are playing tonight. They got a job to do. Their job is to minimize his impact on the game. You're not going to stop a player the caliber of him, but we can minimize it, and that's what we need to do.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And meanwhile, the Bengals have been dealing with illnesses all week long, flu and 24-hour bugs. Terrence Newman will not play tonight, and Reggie Nelson and Adam Jones both missed significant practice time. And defensive end Wallace Gilberry took an IV before the game tonight, but Marvin Lewis told me he will play through his flu-like symptoms.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Marvin Lewis took over as the head coach in Cincinnati in 2003. 6th time he has gotten them to the playoffs. Pittsburgh won the toss, and they've elected to receive, so we'll find out about Ben right off the bat. Mike Nugent to kick off for the Bengals, who come in with a mark of 10-4-1. Pittsburgh 10-5. Marcus Wheaton with a 24.6-yard average, ready to run it back, and Roethlisberger ready to take the field. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Navy Federal Credit Union, serving the armed forces and their families. By BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. And by Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly. It's called the Toonseum, a local museum dedicated to comic book and cartoon art here in Pittsburgh, PA. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, after he had guided them to their first few plays, went back to the locker room. He is there right now. Don't miss a moment of football with NBC Sports Live Extra. Take the game with you anywhere online and on tablet. Well, for the second week in a row, Cincinnati will have to overcome some early adversity. Last week, early in the game, a tip pass. A.J. Green was hurt. Aqib Talib intercepted it, and Denver led 7-0 early, only to have Jeremy Hill respond with an 85-yard run on the next play from scrimmage. So that got him right back in the game. So Dalton trying to hit Green, who cut off his route, intercepted by McCain. And Andy Dalton and Green, 26 interceptions thrown by Dalton, intended for Green, most by any QB and receiver combo since 2011. Part of that would figure to the extent that Dalton throws to Green a lot more than he throws to anybody else.
Well, but Marvin Lewis telling us last night that most of his big mistakes have come in trying to force the ball into A.J. Green, and obviously that was one there.
There's your offensive coordinator, Hugh Jackson. He took over when Jay Gruden got the head coaching job in Washington in the offseason. Spent 1 year, did Hugh, as the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. In fact, he was the coach the year that Al Davis died and guided them to a victory in Houston, an emotional win that weekend. Now the offensive coordinator under Marvin Lewis. So what would happen if you put Geraldo Rivera, Vivica A. Fox, and Carol Owens in a room together? You can find out. The new season of Celebrity Apprentice premiering next Sunday at 9 Eastern and Pacific, 8 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on this final Sunday night of 2014. First place in the AFC North, and a home game next week is the prize. It will bounce and be taken down by Wheaton in the end zone. The Killer Bees, the Bees in the Burg here in Pittsburgh. You got Brown, you got Bell, and you've got Ben. And this is a team averaging 415 yards per game, second in the league only to the Saints in total yardage. Only top two finished back in '79, a Super Bowl year, second in the league in passing. Go back to 58 and '79. To see numbers like that Offense, 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 and there they are. It's so funny, through the years we've all been taught, you play in a cold weather environment like Pittsburgh or Green Bay. It gets sloppy. You have to run the ball. Then you got Aaron Rodgers. You got this offense here. It's all changed.
New England, Denver, yeah, they can't throw the ball at all in those kind of environments out there. But for this offense, and I think you have to give Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator, a little credit. He came in, he changed what this offense was all about, and now it's paying dividends.
And that'll take us to the end of the first with the score 7-7 in the final regular season game of 2014. Sunday Night Football back after these messages.
Waiting all day for Sunday night.
Tonight's area of coverage being brought to you by Geico. Looking right into downtown Pittsburgh, flanked by the Allegheny on the left, Monongahela on the right. The confluence of the Ohio River. Playoff scenario. Winner tonight hosting the Ravens. So Baltimore comes either here or to Cincinnati, and the loser of this game goes to Indianapolis.
The Steelers doing a great job there, just getting the matchup with their best against the Bengals' weak spot. And it pays off in a sack.
They were picked in the first round out of Ohio State in 2011. 10-7 Cincinnati. Bengals winning last Monday night, so it's a short week, not ready for primetime players. That's your original Saturday night live cast from 75. 1-13 on the road in primetime. Marvin in primetime is 7-15, second lowest win percentage in the history of the league. 0-5 on Sunday Night Football. Don't you know that all too well? What's wrong with your old team? Afraid of the dark?
I don't know. They exercised a few demons last week, though against Peyton Manning and the Broncos, getting a win on Monday night. And they would love to see Saturday Night Live go away
For sure.
into the horizon if they can get a win here.
To the 14-yard line. Here's Ben, this year career best. Most completions. Completion percentage is 2/3, 67.2. Most yards, franchise record. And Ben, who gets sacked a lot this year, a little less than normal, 1 per 18 dropbacks.
Well, and they're still working the ball down the field. Todd Haley, despite all the short, quick throws, they have 40 passes of 25 yards or more, which is tied with Andrew Luck for the most.
That's where the Washington Nationals play, but not Thursday, New Year's Day. Hockey, Winter Classic. It'll be the Blackhawks and the Capitals at 1 Eastern time right here on NBC. Beautiful setting in our nation's capital. A lot of Penguin fans, of course, here in Pittsburgh with Sidney Crosby and the gang. Having a good year, though they did get beat by Washington last night.
Fell apart in the last game between these two after a turnover, but it has been Bryce McCain tonight. This one probably you have to put on A.J. Green more than Andy Dalton. The next one, A.J. Green just wide open. Easy routine throw high over the top. And McCain gets another gift. So the Bengals have to piece it back together here. They've played well. Their defense has been playing great out here tonight. Can't keep giving it away.
Start on the ground. Oh, that's Jeremy Hill. Kept those legs chugging, gain of 4. Andy Dalton in his rookie season has started every game, 20-13. The following year, pretty good, 27-16. All of these are playoff seasons. 33-20 last year. They go to the playoffs again this season. 18-17, not good.
No,
not a good ratio.
There's a feeling that he's frustrated a little bit because it's hard for a thrower to get in a rhythm when you're running the ball a lot. But you also have to make plays when you are throwing the football, and that's always going to be the issue.
How have they fared so far tonight? Dalton, 8 out of 13, but for only 60 yards. He had that pass to Bernard, which went for the touchdown, mainly thanks to Bernard. And then Roethlisberger, 136 on 10 of 16. Coming up, the Toyota halftime, the best of week 17. The playoff schedules for next weekend will be announced, what it means for your team. Coming up at halftime. by Pittsburgh. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by The Wedding Ringer, in theaters January 2015. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By Volkswagen TDI Clean Diesel. And by Sprint. It's the Winter Light Garden at the Phipps Conservatory here in Pittsburgh. TD's last 2 minutes of either half. Cincinnati allowing none in 15 games, and Pittsburgh scoring 9. Down, they have 1 timeout, and they will get the ball to start the second half.
Good battle. 2 great players on the outside. James Harrison really in limited play this year. 5.5 sacks, and Andrew Whitworth, who I voted for All-Pro. I thought he's been the best tackle around this season. Pretty amazing. Only 1 hit on a quarterback. No sacks all season long, and he's been doing the job so far tonight on Harrison. It was interesting talking to James Harrison. Andy Dalton was his favorite player when he was playing with the Bengals, and he came in the locker room, insisted on meeting Andy Dalton, and just was beside himself. He got to meet Andy Dalton, and now his dad's having to go get Andy Dalton.
Pittsburgh territory to the 49-yard line, and that's going to take us to the third quarter. Bengals get the second half kickoff. Coming up next, Toyota halftime after these messages from your NBC station.
Welcome to the Toyota halftime. Let's go places.
The title in the AFC North is at stake at Heinz Field tonight, and at the half, the Steelers have doubled the Bengals up at 20-10. Here's Dan.
Thank you, Bob. With Rodney and Tony, what's your takeaway from the first half?
Well, we said in the pregame, Andy Dalton couldn't make the big mistakes. 2 interceptions were very costly.
The Bengals defense, they have to find a way to put pressure on Big Ben. He has all day back there.
Yeah, hadn't been sacked yet. All right, the Week 17 highlights, and then we'll look at the playoff ramifications. As a result, San Diego and Kansas City, 4 teams had a shot for the final AFC playoff spot. Chargers needed a win to get in, but they fell to Kansas City 19-7. Cleveland at Baltimore opened the door for Baltimore, a win and you're in. Joe Flacco, Torrey Smith. Ravens travel to the winner of the Bengals-Steelers game next week. Carolina at Atlanta, win and you're in. Cam Newton and the Panthers back in the playoffs. He ran for a score, threw for another. The defense was great. Panthers, the number 4 seed, hosting Cardinals next week. St. Louis at Seattle. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC goes through Seattle again. Marshawn Lynch broke open the game in the fourth quarter, 20-6, the final. Dallas at Washington. Tony Romo, pair of scores, both to Des Bryant. Dallas, the number 3 seed, will host Detroit next week. Detroit in Green Bay. Packers got a scare when Aaron Rodgers left with a calf injury in the first half. He came back to help the Packers win the NFC North. Randall Cobb on the receiving end here. Controversial moment. League said it will review if there was any intent involved in Ndamukong Suh stepping on Aaron Rodgers' legs, not once, but twice. Let's start with Detroit at Dallas. Who do you like?
I like Dallas. I think they have the best offensive line in all of football, and their offensive line can stand up to Suh and all the rest of those pass rushers. I think they have too many weapons across the board. How do you defend Jason Witten? How do you defend Des Bryant? I think he's the best wide receiver in the game.
Yeah, I like Dallas too, but they do have the defensive front that could stop the run. They've got a chance if they can force turnovers.
Carolina hosting Arizona. Who do you like?
I'm on the Carolina bandwagon. Since Jonathan Stewart's been back, running the ball and playing defense, they've got a great formula. And I think they could go on and give Seattle a game up there and possibly win in Seattle.
You're crazy, Coach. And I hate to say it like that because they're good enough for it to happen 1 week against Arizona. But against Seattle, they just don't have enough weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And you can't expect to go up there and run the ball, rush the ball for 150 to 200 yards, control the clock.
Well, wait, who do you like
Seattle.
in this game, though? Carolina against Arizona?
Oh, I like Carolina.
Oh, okay. Just
but
for
I'm
1
just
week.
saying, they can't go up to Seattle and win that game.
Coming up, Bob Costas will have the full playoff schedule for Wild Card Weekend. But first, every Sunday, athletes across the league look for every advantage they can. But as Coach T is about to find out, some advantages are better left in the dresser drawer.
Back in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers lead the Bengals 20-10. The NFL has released the full schedule for Wild Card Weekend, and here we go. The playoffs will begin on Saturday in Carolina, with the Panthers hosting the Cardinals on ESPN. Kickoff at 4:35. Then the Steelers will play in the Saturday night game here on NBC, either hosting the Ravens if they win tonight, or traveling to Indianapolis if the Steelers should lose tonight. Either way, kickoff 8:15 Eastern Time. Then the Bengals will play in the early game on Sunday, which ensures that they won't have a second consecutive short week. If they win tonight here in Pittsburgh, they will host the Ravens. If they lose tonight, they will go to Indy. Kickoff at 1:05 on CBS. And then Sunday at 4:40, it's the Lions at the Cowboys on Fox. By the way, on the very off chance of a tie tonight, it would be Baltimore at Indy on Saturday night and Pittsburgh at Cincy in a rematch on Sunday. Now looking ahead to the divisional round, New England will host the first game on Saturday, January 10th. Kickoff will be at 4:35 Eastern. That contest will be here on NBC. Then Seattle will host the second game on Fox on Sunday the 11th. The Packers will host the early game in Green Bay on Fox, and the Broncos will host the late game in Denver on CBS. And that is your playoff schedule. If you can't remember it all, and I can't, and I just said it, that's what the guide feature is for on your television. Meanwhile, coming up this week on the Today Show, tips to make sure you stick to your New Year's resolution well into 2015. And Savannah sits down with actor Jake Gyllenhaal. That's this week on Today. The Steelers lead the Bengals here 20-10. Back to Pittsburgh for the second half after this.
This has been the Toyota Halftime. Let's go places. Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Nationwide, official sponsor of the NFL.
And Brown down the sideline he goes. Touchdown.
One of the great playmakers in the game.
Caught by Bernard, leaping over William Gay for the score. Martavis Bryant for the touchdown.
Nationwide is on your side.
Steelers trying to get a home game next weekend on top 20-10. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoy in Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger, 191 through the air. 250th career touchdown pass. Slight stomach virus prior to the game, but all right now. Antonio Brown, third career punt return, 71 yards in this case. Andy Dalton only 81 yards, 2 picks, both coming by Bryce McCain. Winner of the game hosts the Ravens next weekend. The loser goes to Indianapolis. And Cincinnati's going to wind up with the ball, receiving the second half kickoff. What are you looking for here?
I think the Bengals are going to try and get back to the running game. You know, that was the one thing that worked early on for them. They were disappointed they didn't call more runs the first time they played. That is the one area that they've really been strong in this year, and they're going to have to win the game with it.
Adam Jones from the 2. And he runs it back out to the 30, tackled there by Shamarko Thomas. We go to Michelle.
Well, Marvin Lewis told me at halftime, plain and simple, Andy Dalton has got to be better. And he said they've got to get pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, and he's counting on his defensive linemen to win their one-on-one matchups. But Mike Tomlin told me his offensive line has grown up this season. He expects the 5 of them to be able to protect against a 4-man rush. And as for Ben Roethlisberger's health, he said he's just fine now.
All right, started with Giovanni Bernard as their #1 back, and then Hill saw spot duty, and then he took over about halfway through the season. And think about this. He's playing down there at LSU with Odell Beckham. A little bit of talent in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. But when you get those negative plays or penalties, you just can't stay with it.
Look at that. Day games, he wins 2 out of 3. Night games, he wins 1 out of 3. Across the board. Oh, he's not a night creature.
Well, in fairness, you don't get easy opponents at night either. Well, we talked about Ben Roethlisberger, just about as tight a motion as you could get, straight up, straight through, driving the football. And here's that out route we were talking about. Put a little hum baby on that one, 59 miles an hour, about as fast as we've seen. I think about 60 is the fastest we've ever seen. So when he loads up on one, it's there in a hurry, although that pass was underthrown.
State, big guy, 6'1", comes in at about 244. Tremendous year. A lot of talk, obviously, lately about Jeremy Hill, but don't forget about this guy, and he'll be going to the Pro Bowl at the age of 22. All right, the Golden Globes coming your way. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are back as your hosts. 72nd Annual Golden Globe Awards live Sunday, January 11th, right here on NBC. Match Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Verizon. Get our best end of the season deals on great tech gifts. By Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Exxon Mobil.
Jermaine Gresham is barely able to play. Back is sore. He took a big shot on his back that time, and so the weapons are few right now for the Bengals.
Takes us to the end of the third quarter with the score: the Pittsburgh Steelers 20 and the Cincinnati Bengals 10. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. Pennsylvania Polka. You used to dance to that, you and Holly?
I did, yes, at our wedding, as a matter of fact. And you just get the feeling, Andy Dalton says, if you're not going to double him every snap, we're going there. This is a guy who had up to over 200 yards receiving the last time they met, and you can just feel it. He's starting to get hot now. He's starting to feel it a bit.
Sunday Night Football being brought to you by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. By Nissan, innovation that excites. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by National Car Rental, go national, go like a pro. Heinz History Center, Western Pennsylvania Sports Museum. Franco, the immaculate reception right there.
Walk right by it in the airport when you come in.
Yeah.
How about Andy Dalton that last drive, though? I mean, this, in many ways, for the Cincinnati Bengals, they're not going on the road as a wild card team and winning a Super Bowl. They have to win this one. 8 for 9, 73 yards, and that touchdown to give them a chance here.
The Winners Only Field kicks off 2015 at the Hyundai Tournament of Champions. Don't miss the PGA Tour's return to primetime live from Hawaii, January 9th through the 12th on Golf Channel and NBC.
Ball game now.
3-point game, ball to 41-yard line. Thought your fantasy season was over? It's not. Play for free. You could win a trip to Super Bowl 50. Join today at NFL.com/fantasy. Well, Antoine Blake created the fumble, recovered it, and then the shot came in from Mitchell.
Arguably their best offensive player on both sides now.
And they don't get the play off before the 2-minute warning. So 2 timeouts, 2 minutes to go, and a 10-point Pittsburgh lead on Sunday Night Football. Volkswagen post-game report to follow. A show on the field with the stars of the game. Bob and Tony and Mike breaking it down, talking about news around the league and a look ahead to wild card weekend as the playoffs begin next Saturday.
I did not think there was enough, but sometimes it's interesting if it were turned around defensively. We've seen that called plenty of times. Sometimes offense gets a little benefit of the doubt.
So Brown, 1,952 yards. There it is. Andrew Luck winding up third. So the way it looks right now, Cincinnati will be seeing Andrew Luck next week, and Ben Roethlisberger will be seeing the Baltimore Ravens next week.
Congratulations, Pittsburgh Steelers, well deserved.
So they get a home game, and if they win that one, then they go on the road. But an easier route than they had in 2005 when they had to win 3 road games before the Super Bowl and wound up winning it over the Seattle Seahawks. That was in 05. Get a little, back and forth going on here. There's Mr. Brown. What a year he had. Tremendous. Just great.
You know, the real story coming out of this game now, at this point, is how is Le'Veon Bell, how is A.J. Green? I mean, because those are the 2 key components of these 2 offenses.
Yeah, Tomlin and Reggie Nelson right there after the game. A hug and then some admonishment. So Reggie's pleading his case, and
you could see Tomlin going, "Oh, come on!" Whatever it was that Reggie Nelson said there at the end, and Marvin jumped in, straightened it up.
Of course, it was Nelson to put that hit on Bell. Coming up next, we'll have the Volkswagen post-game report. Chances are Michelle will be talking to one Antonio Brown after this.
Welcome to the Volkswagen post-game report. Here now, Bob Costas.
Steelers win 27-17, and with it they win the AFC North. Let's take a look at the game balls. There will be 3 of them. Ben Roethlisberger played under the weather, considerably under the weather. Nonetheless, threw for 317 yards and a couple of touchdowns, one of which was caught by the amazing Antonio Brown. Brown also had a 71-yard punt return for a TD. He gets another of the game balls, and a 3rd game ball goes to Bryce McCain, playing in place of Ike Taylor. He had 2 interceptions. McCain and Brown are down on the field to talk with Michelle.
Antonio Brown, you lead the league in receiving yards, but you also become the first Steeler in history to lead the NFL in receptions. I see the smile on your face. What does that mean to you?
I mean, that's a tremendous honor. I thank my teammates, my coaches, my quarterback, the offensive coordinator. You know, it's just an accolade. I seem like myself, but a lot of teamwork goes into it.
The punt return, the first score of this game for you guys, that's your 3rd of your career. All of them have come against the Bengals. What is it about that situation?
I don't know, man. It was great blocking today. I did a great job setting it right and coming back left. And I guess